I'm so sorry for missing out on the holoballers and the TDPs. I'm actually surprised how many people enjoy the holoballers still after all these years. It's kind of heartwarming. We are on our way. MSQ day 5, I think, or day 4 is where we're at. And oh my. I am simultaneously both overjoyed and excited and happy. And at the same time, that is I don't know whether it's idiocy or a ballsy move, but it's definitely frustrating. It's definitely frustrating. As I left it last time, we were the only person left in contention to be the Dawn Servant. That's it. That's where we were. And we were about to head into the prestigious and overwhelmingly good Dead Baby Dungeon. And I had a night to consider what would be in there. My macabre, dark, sinister brain ran wild. We have a saying around here, which a lot of you won't have context for, and that is legendary ringing yourself. And I did that. I was picturing, okay, if I was a dungeon designer and I was given the context that this place is a sealed vault filled with potentially thousands of dead fetuses that was sealed up to stop their vengeful spirits from rising from the grave, what would I make? And it was awful. It was basically a heavy metal cover. Cover art on a disc. That's what I was picturing. I was like, this could be so gruesome. And to be fair, FF14 has never really shied away, even in dungeons, from doing some really creepy, gruesome stuff. I remember the puppet dungeon we did. I want to say it was like back in Heaven's Ward, but I could be wrong on that, where they literally had like creepy, the girl puppets and little boy puppets like doddering around doing weird shit. And I was like, oh my god, we could be going down that road. We didn't. We didn't. They were actually... They show a screen, like a passing camera shot, a sweeping camera shot of it as you go in, of all the like jars containing these bodies. But they erred on the side of mystery. And turns out with good reason. So although I started the dungeon like, oh, okay, we're kind of fighting like water-based creatures. There's like Manta Ray boss, and the bosses were fine. The actual point of this dungeon is something completely unexpected. And I think this is kind of well written. Is like you expect this to happen, but what actually happens is you find the gate to the City of Gold. And entering that sort of almost like the breakdown of a holographic situation. Again, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. When the holodeck is malfunctioning, you start to see the grid lines appearing. That something's wrong on that part of the wall, and it's kind of got that vibe to it. I was like, oh, wait a minute, we're at Solution 9. Like, this is it. We're happening. After all this time, we're going to Solution 9. And then you enter this grandiose, super sci-fi hallway in such a stark contrast to the stone, ancient ruins architecture of the previous part of the dungeon. You're like, oh my god. And then anything I thought about the Dead Baby dungeon was washed away entirely as we found the gate to the City of Gold, and we put in our Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It opens it, and now we see the portal. And then... And I know if you've played the MSQ, you felt the same way. They blue balls you hardcore. We're all like, oh, cool, we found it. Well, let's get out of here. And I'm like, what is happening here? Why are we not, like, all over this? Why are we not checking it? And they're like, well, door's locked. Let's go and celebrate the fact that we found the City of Gold, because that was our goal with our whole storyline here, was to get Wuklamat to be the Dawn Servant. So let's go deal with that. I'm like, no. This is way more important. This is clearly way more important. And Kryle's like, yeah, I guess we should be leaving now. And I'm like, what is happening? Why are we not all over this like a rash? Like, I don't understand what the hell is going on here. What?
As to what the city is and what gall of Maltesium
do not blue balls us right now.
This knowledge and more I will share with you after your ascension.
No!
What you choose to do with it will be...
You can! That's horrible. I feel like my kids just walked in.
Golden Cities.
And they're like, yeah, bye. And we just leave. And I'm like, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Like, we should be calling Sid. We should be calling Y'shtola. There's, like, huge amounts of ether to be seen here. We should be 1-800-ing everybody here, and we're just leaving. We're going back to Tural, to Tuliolol to talk about, like, political things. I'm like, stop. What? Stop phantom menacing me right now. And it even got worse. Because we get back, and we do the Dawn Servant celebration. A lot of people had a problem with this. I didn't. It was actually fully expected, as certainly been following the vlogs, is that we had this really interesting little cutscene with Kona, who's like, yeah, Wuklamat's asked that you come to the ceremony and even work for her. Like, you know, can you be, like, a member of her council? She's not asked me to do anything. And I said during the day, I was like, I'm pretty sure you're fine. I'm pretty sure you're about to become, like, co-Dawn Servant. But he's like, yeah. So, I'm basically an errand boy now. Crap. I went from almost running this place to being like the message boy. And he like sulks off. I was like, this is really funny. Because it's all been leading up to them co-running the place. And we have the celebration, and she's all cheery, and we're going to have peas. But then she realizes, of course, you know, she's very emotional. She's much more empathetic, and may even make bad choices based on, like, sympathy and emotional attachment to people. But it's still important to have that emotional attachment, but Kona doesn't. But he has this other logical side, and so they make perfect ruling partners. Yay! And they had this, like, really cringe song that played. It wasn't as... I actually somewhat predicted this. I was like, man, can you imagine if they repeat Stormblood with that awful sing-along that everybody does? And lo and behold, this song plays in the background while this is happening, as she superhero dives to the landing and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, we're close. We're close. It was pretty cringe. Not a huge fan of it, but it was fine. It was whatever. Par for the course, I guess we could say, of the cheery wonder joy that Wuklamat is going to bring to the people. I'm actually waiting for this to all go horribly wrong. I really feel that way. Like, I'm not saying that because, like, it's too cheery, but in a way it is. It's too perfect, right? It's too perfect. We've got these two leaders who are seemingly all out for Tural's greatness, and we're going to bring happiness to every corner of the whole place, and we're going to deal with everybody's problems, even the people who are like trying to stage a rebellion over in the ogres, in the giant situation, and all this kind of stuff. We're going to deal with it all, and we're going to listen to their problems, and we're going to sort it out, and we've made friends with the Mamul and all this kind of stuff. And I just feel like this paradise is going to be incinerated, because it's FF14, and something horrible is coming that way. And I feel like Wuklamat is in for a really stark... She hasn't been humbled yet. It's something I think I mentioned in, like, day 2, is that Wuklamat needs to be humbled at some point. That this approach that she has of being, like, forgiving, overly forgiving and naive, and like everybody can be fixed, and everybody can be, a peace can be achieved for all mankind, blah 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 blah, is going to just blow up in her face at some point. And someone's going to be like, you have no idea. Like a Xenos type character, or a Funny Daniel type character is going to rock up and be like, no, I don't think so. And I'm desperately kind of waiting for this to all just burn to the ground in some horrible way. Because, like, Tural, like, everything we've seen about it is just too idyllic. Or is it? So, at this point, I was very frustrated. I was like, it almost made me forget what was happening. So, okay, we're going to do the Dawn Servant ceremony, then we're going to the City of Gold, obviously, right? But no! They then have a meeting of like, okay, I guess we're done with this. What's everybody going to do now? And Alfie and Alizé are like, well, we're done with the MSQ now. We're going to go back to, like, Garlemald and use what we've learned here to maybe bring better relationships over back in Garlemald. And Kryle's like, well, I kind of want to know more about the City of Gold. I'm like, yes, Kryle, that's clearly the most important thing happening right now in terms of our interest. But they're playing it as if, like, it should be left alone, and therefore we should leave it alone. And so it's not of concern. Like, the goal was to find the City of Gold. We did that. So we did our goal. Like, mission complete. And I'm like, no, duh, let's keep going. And then we even get more blue balls with Daddy saying, okay. We did have the revelation that his other head was dead, which we suspected for a long time. And he's like, okay, I will tell you about the City of Gold and, like, what happens there. But I'm only going to tell Wuklamat, and I'm going to tell you later. And you guys can't come. And I'm like, what the hell is happening here? What the hell is happening here? However, they kind of timed this perfectly, because what they're about to do, and I'm sure they knew internally, was completely shift gears into something that would probably make you forget about the City of Gold, at least temporarily. And I will say this, they achieved that. They did achieve that. Within the next 20 to 30 minutes, I couldn't give a bog all about the City of Gold, because the game went in a totally different direction. And that's where we are. That's the joy that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, is that there's this gate, and it's sealed, and you can't pass this gate unless you have special permission from the current reigning Dawn servant. You need a pass. And like, that's weird, because everything we know about Tural is that they're all trying to live in peace and harmony and work together, and they're all working under the command of the Dawn servant, blah, 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 to unify all these people. Yet you have this gate, and people aren't allowed through it. What the hell lurks beyond the gate? And then I had forgot about it a little bit, because it's mentioned at like the very intro tour of Tural, is that Tuliolol, is that, you know, yeah, oh yeah, there's this gate the Giants built and this bridge the Giants built, but it's sealed off and you need a Dawn Servant's pass. And it's like a passing comment earlier in the story, and now it comes back, it's like, oh, here you go, here's your pass. I was like, okay, we're going to another zone. And then the question comes back. It's like, why is this sealed off? Like, why is this like a central city gate, and yet people just aren't allowed to freely pass through it, given everything else happening in Tural? And it then becomes readily apparent, because it's the Wild West, and they operate outside of the supervision of the central government, essentially. They abide by their own laws and rules, and as long as they don't get too out of hand beyond here, they can do whatever the hell they want. And what they want to do is get that good oil. Oh, yeah, we want that good oil. Or ceruleum in this case, but we're getting the oil. And what they've got over there is ample deposits of ceruleum, and it's a gold rush town. And it's full Wild West, and god damn it if they haven't created a place that is so fit. I mean, just look at the footage here, I'm sure Bex could put in, of what the crawlers did here in a few minutes. Not only did they completely create an active Wild West town, later in the just the part-time, I was actively like RP walking around here because it felt appropriate. I was playing like real music that's like royalty-free Western music. This place is wonderful. It's wonderful. They then recreated like the actual scene from FF15 with Cindy in it and stuff like that. And I was like, this is just so fit for so many opportunities for cool in-game character player driven storytelling that I can't wait to see what happens with this place, because it's phenomenal. It's so fun and such a good start. I was getting very, very tired of the aesthetics of Dawntrail. Every zone felt the same. Somewhat slightly less green than others, you know, the mountain tops where the giants are, but generally speaking, it's kind of jungle themed all the way through. I was like, FF14 is kind of known for stark, different geography and aesthetics. Dungeons are known for that. Usually have 3 distinct environments. Yet Dawntrail's first, like, 4 zones are kind of the same. You know, good waterfalls, a lot of rivers, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, it's beautiful, but I'm kind of done with it. And it's like, I need a palate cleanser. And then they go, well, what about this? And you switch entirely into the Wild West. And they have full American voice acting here, at least in the English version. And I wonder if this was a decision made a while ago. I'd like to ask Yoshi P about this. Because of the Western influx of players into FF14, they were like, we should kind of do something to recognize that by having some American players, because, you know, our American player base has come on leaps and bounds since the downfall of Shadowlands, that we should do something that you know, reflects the fact that we have a larger Western player base than we originally had. So I wonder if that's came in. And the stories were great. It's like, yeah, pa, we're gonna get him. You know, gonna get nothing, you dirty scout. You know, the full-on, like, Western situation. Everyone was like, no, it's more of a Texas accent. I'm like, dude, this is full-on Clint Eastwood, Wild West. I don't care what the voice actors are doing. I know what I'm doing. I'm keeping it like this and making it this way. And it was so fun. It was such a cool... It was everything I needed. It was everything I needed with Dawntrail. Again, that palette cleanser, that total shifting gears. I don't know when we're going to the City of Gold, but I know that I love this. And Westinian, we're calling Wild Westinian, because it was bothering me. I'm like, where is Estinian? Estinian, like, rocks up, he fights Daddy, and then he just walks away. And now you see him as, like, all this, like, very Clint Eastwood, the man with no name kind of character. who is hanging around and imparting his, you know, brand of justice where he sees necessary. Sort of like, you can picture him in, you know, he's got a poncho essentially, walking around and just kind of being this man with no name character, going from town to town and keeping an eye on things and getting involved where things might need his assistance. And we have a rundown with, you know, the local gang. They don't quite rob a train. Our ultimate goal here is to get on a train. And I left the story as they have revealed, and I had a little debate with this because we are revealed that it's the reflections from the first of the people who love the trolley. It's a fan service moment, 100%, but those characters' reflections are here dealing with the train, and all together once again it's a return of those characters, which no doubt was like a surprise to everybody else how much the trolley was embraced, and probably because Shadowbringers needed a palate cleanser itself there, and people attached themselves to the trolley and praised the trolley, such as we did, and having them return. And people really liked it, which is great, because often some sort of fan service can go a little weird, and people are like, it's pandering. But people seem to really enjoy this. I enjoyed it as well, and I'm happy other people did. Similar with the Corn Servant. The Corn Servant... putting quotes from Dark Souls' Solaire, praise the sun, as I'm doing a little Corn Servant stuff on the side, and that's been enjoyable as well. So these little nods and fan service moments are really nice, and I'm very much enjoying them. So I have to say, story-wise, we've left Wukla behind for now. I have no doubt she's returning. But this was the absolute change of gear I needed to be like sort of reinvigorated with what was going on, because certainly the whole we've reached the Golden City. As players, we know Solution 9 is imminent and it's weird and wonderful, and now we've had this hint of it with this technology, and then to be like, well, we're just not going to deal with that right now, it was super frustrating and angry. And then they were like, yeah, but we know what you're going to like, what's coming next, and it's going to probably refresh you. And it did. So this bit was done very well in terms of my enjoyment. Storytelling wise, it's definitely weird. It is. It's weird, because there would be a way bigger deal. There was a bigger deal made about the Crystal Towers doorway back in the day than there is about this very bizarre, highly technological, you know, thing that we found. Then to have the twins be like, all right, cool, bye. I don't know. I know when I accumulate my thoughts on Dawntrail for our major main channel video, I'm going to have some things to say, for sure. But... this is where I am. We are going to save the train. So I'll catch you tomorrow. Bye, guys.